Hello, my name is Mya Whitton. I am the researcher for the project entitled The Susceptibility to Dementia with Over-the-Counter Antihistamines. Since this project is focused on neuroscience topics such as cellular neurobiology and neurodegeneration, my overall goal for this project is to determine and see why drugs of this similar chemical component contribute to neurodegeneration in humans. With this goal in mind, the objectives for this specific project is to determine why neurological symptoms from antihistamines occur, see why H1 first generation antihistamines contribute to more cognitive deficits in its consumers than H1 second generation, look closely at brain fog, which is the main neurological symptom from over-the-counter antihistamines. With the goal and the objectives in mind, my hypothesis that I created was that brain fog that is experienced in these users is the first physical sign of antihistamines causing the onset of dementia and other neurodegenerative diseases due to its chemical makeup. I will get more into brain fog and its chemical makeup in the comparison to dementia in these slides that are upcoming. To better define over-the-counter antihistamines, to first say antihistamines do consist of two main classes. One class helps sufferers that experience allergic reactions, and the other class helps sufferers that experience more gas-related symptoms. And the gas-related symptoms that occur can be helped with the H2 antagonist. In my project, I am more focused on the H1 antagonists, which work to block histamines, the chemical made of allergens, at the H1 specific receptors. Though I am focused on H1, the main antihistamine I am looking at is the H1 first generation blockers, which are commonly in Benadryl and chlortrimetronidone. They have an overexpression of sedating properties that cause the neurological effects such as brain fog, which is the main one I'm focusing on, drowsiness, and confusion. Now, the second generation H1 antagonists, which is the Claritin Zyrtec that are sold at pharmacies as well, they do not cause these sedating, they don't have these sedating properties that cause the severity, the severity of brain fog and drowsiness that are shown in the H1 first generation. And this is why they have the labels of non-drowsy properties at the top of their boxes. To further explain why there is more potency in the H1 first generation antihistamines, this is believed to be so because first generation H1 antihistamines do cross the blood-brain barrier. And because the blood-brain barrier accepts these drugs, there's disruptance from protection against toxins and pathogens, and a disruptance against gaining those nutrients the brain needs. So the reason why first generation H1 antihistamines affect the nervous system so much might be because the crossing of the blood-brain barrier. The crossing of the blood-brain barrier might also be the reason why we might see in the synapses that there is long-term depression instead of long-term petitiation. And over to the side, there is a more in-depth look at the efficiency and side effects of the properties inside of antihistamines, the H1 antihistamine. As I went on with my research, I did a review of literature, which followed after looking at one of the most popular research articles focused on anticholinergic drugs, which an antihistamine is. And this 2015 article did find that people who have taken medication every day for more than 3 years do have a greater risk of possessing dementia. After that, looked more into the chemical component of antihistamines and found that they do block the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is needed to help guide messages between cells. So that was another warning for me that led to my hypothesis. And then I found that brain fog itself causes people to have cognitive limitations and hinders the process of adult neurogenesis, which does affect the performance of activity stimulated behaviors. Brain fog being a symptom from H1 first generation drugs might be a reason why the drug makers do tell people not to drive and do other machine learning activities, because there is a risk that your activity stimulant behaviors will be hindered. Brain fog itself also can occur from aging, medical conditions, stress, and more recently, COVID-19, which is the long-term brain fog that we see more and more in the news every day. Brain fog also has a link to MCI, which does have a very significant relationship to dementia as well. MCI has been found to be somewhat of a marker to dementia patients. And these same symptoms from brain fog are also found in dementia. So they tend to mirror each other. And from that, I asked myself, could brain fog be the physical preliminary marker for the onset of dementia if a person consumes over-the-counter antihistamines regularly? So if I were to perform this experiment and perform this research that I did, I would like to achieve this goal by first surveying people who take H1 first generation antihistamines like Benadryl, and survey them regularly and see if they any symptoms that had occurred. I would also take an EEG to see if LTD has occurred and see if there is a weakening of the synaptic responses. And I would do that monthly. I would also survey individuals living with dementia to see if they have used antihistamines in the past or are taking them now, to best connect that relationship to dementia and antihistamines. And also looking more at the biological factors to see if the susceptibility to any neurodegenerative diseases can occur from this drug. And what I expect to see is a significant relationship between brain fog, dementia, and the consumption of antihistamines. Since H1 first generation antihistamines block acetylcholine, the main neurotransmitter, I expect the brain fog to occur more and more as the drug is consumed regularly and leaves cognition problems long-term, being dementia. The potential impact of this research, if it were to be considered and done properly, I believe that it would maintain the responsibility to serve public health, biomedical research, and psychological research. It would be helpful for healthcare professionals to better understand and better prescribe antihistamines to their patients, and for psychologists to see any risk factors while taking this drug if they have any mental disorders or illnesses that might be dangerous to them. This work would also have open communication with the research study of neuropharmacology to best understand drugs in the brain in the future. So my final conclusion, in conclusion, the susceptibility to dementia from over-the-counter antihistamines is speculated but not yet proven. Though brain fog, what I found, brain fog that is caused by the consumption of this drug could have serious long-term effects regarding cognition and its processing. Brain fog symptoms similarity to dementia symptoms could be a start to researching the severity of over-the-counter antihistamines. And if you have any questions about my research, you can contact me at my email at maya.wh1@gmail.com, and also link to my LinkedIn profile. I am an incoming student at Rush University. So that's where you will find me. And thank you and have a great day.